A year the world mourned Queen Elizabeth II. Thousands joined the queue to see the Queen lying in state. For the new king, his was a public grief. Just 3 months earlier, the Queen celebrated her Platinum Jubilee. With her family, the nation,
oh dear,
and Paddington.
Perhaps you would like a marmalade sandwich. I always keep one for emergencies.
So do I. I keep mine in here.
The last official duty of Queen Elizabeth II at her Balmoral estate in Scotland. Meeting the new Prime Minister, back then Liz Truss. 2 days later came news the Queen was unwell and her doctors were concerned. Members of the royal family flew to Scotland. It was clear the situation was grave. Just after 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, the 8th of September, the announcement that an historic 70-year reign was at an end.
The BBC is interrupting its normal programmes to bring you an important announcement. Buckingham Palace has announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. In a statement, the palace said the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon.
A stable centre during a reign of immense change, the only monarch most had known. People wanted to pay their respects. The day after his mother's death, the new king, Charles III, returned to London from Balmoral with Camilla, the Queen Consort. Before going into Buckingham Palace, he met the crowds gathered outside. Then, a first walk through the gates as King and Queen Consort. From here, he made his first address to the nation as sovereign.
And to my darling Mamma, as you begin your last great journey to join my dear late Papa, I want simply to say this: thank you. Thank you for your love and devotion to our family and to the family of nations you have served so diligently all these years. May flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
The days ahead were filled with ritual and ceremony, some of it dating back centuries.
The crown of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is solely and rightfully come to the Prince Charles Philip Arthur George. God save the King!
God save the King!
The Accession Council gathered at St James's Palace. Former Prime Ministers, members of the royal family and other dignitaries. As Charles III was officially proclaimed as the new monarch. The Queen's death at Balmoral meant Scotland would play an important role in the public mourning. 3 days after she died, the Queen's coffin left the royal estate for Edinburgh. Slowly, the cortege wound through the breathtaking beauty of Deeside, where the royal family had spent so many happy summers. The Queen was a neighbour to many here, and they came out to say goodbye, sometimes in their own unique way. Arriving in Edinburgh, the Queen's coffin was first taken to the Palace of Holyrood House. In a moving moment, her daughter, Princess Anne, curtsied to her mother's coffin as it was taken into the royal residence. The following day, the focus moved to St Giles Cathedral, where for almost 24 hours the public filed past to view the lying at rest. On Tuesday, the 13th of September, the Queen left Scotland for the last time. As the public mourning moved to London. Through the gloomy, drizzly skies, an RAF aircraft brought the Queen back to Northolt, the RAF base from where she'd left for Balmoral earlier in the summer. And as the evening set in, the state hearse took the Queen to Buckingham Palace. Through the suburbs of West London, traffic stopped, main roads closed, people came out to see. The involvement of the public was to be part of all events leading up to the funeral. Thousands lined the streets of central London to see the journey to Westminster Hall for lying in state. The Queen's 4 children walked behind their mother's coffin, as did some of her grandchildren, including Princes William and Harry. Prince William has since spoken of the memories this brought back of his mother's funeral. At Westminster Hall, Queen Elizabeth II lay in state until the day of her funeral. Tens of thousands came to share this experience, in silence, in prayer, sometimes in tears, and they had waited many hours to do so. The queue to see the Queen lying in state became a place where memories were shared, friendships made. It stretched back for miles, and at times the waiting was reported to be close to 24 hours. But that didn't put people off.
No one knows each other, we're all here on our own, and then there's this sense of everyone's here for the same reason.
It's been tiring, but it's been fine. There's been good banter, and the queue's been moving.
Tired. My feet are absolutely tired.
Even well-known faces joined. David Beckham queued for more than 12 hours, saying it was just special to be there. The Queen's family played their part here too. Her 4 children held a vigil at their mother's coffin, in a deeply personal moment amidst the public mourning. As did her grandchildren, who stood in quiet contemplation. It was a reminder that this was a family grieving. But for the King, there was duty too, and a need to be seen around the UK.
I think we're all very saddened by our loss.
As well as time in Scotland, the King also visited Northern Ireland, where he received condolences from across all political parties.
Deepest condolences.
And he experienced a bit of leaky pen frustration as he signed the visitors' book at Hillsborough Castle. And he also went to Wales before his mother's funeral, with a lengthy walkabout at Cardiff Castle. The King's sons were also visible during this period of royal mourning. The new Prince and Princess of Wales visited the Sandringham estate in Norfolk to view tributes and thank staff and local people, many of whom had met the Queen.
I love he's got his little guardsman t-shirt on. And then Paddington as well. Yeah. I was saying, I think Paddington might have knocked the corgi off the top spot.
But it was perhaps a surprise family visit in Windsor that drew the most attention. 2 days after the Queen died, 2 years after the Duke and Duchess of Sussex left the UK, Harry, Meghan, William and Catherine put their differences aside to see tributes left at Windsor Castle. Maybe not a reconciliation, but a show of unity that many seemed pleased to see.
The days of public mourning culminated here at Westminster Abbey, where one of the biggest gatherings ever seen in the UK of kings and queens, prime ministers and presidents came for the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II.
It was the final farewell. From her family, the Queen herself had helped choose the readings and music. The funeral service reflected the Queen's deep faith and dedication to duty.
Serve meet again.
After the service, the procession from Westminster Abbey was at times extraordinary in its pace, precision and pageantry. The Queen was on her way to Windsor for the last time. The roads were free of traffic, the pavements full of people. Windsor was the place she called home in recent years. Up the long walk to the castle gates, the funeral cortege passed Emma, the Queen's fell pony. And then, in the castle quadrangle, the Queen's beloved corgis came to say goodbye. The committal service in St George's Chapel was full of symbolism and ritual, all marking the end of this life and reign. As well as the orb and sceptre, the imperial state crown was moved from the top of the coffin to the altar. And the Lord Chamberlain, head of the Queen's household, broke his wand of office and placed it on the coffin. Again a sign that the reign of Queen Elizabeth II was over. The final sound to echo around the chapel, the piper's lament, fading into the distance as he walked towards the castle. The period of public mourning was now over. The Queen was laid to rest alongside her husband, her father, and her mother.
Before her death, the Queen had much to celebrate this year. Back in June, 4 days of events marked the Platinum Jubilee, the first in British history for the longest reigning monarch.
It began with trooping the colour through Horse Guards parade. Then attention shifted to the balcony of Buckingham Palace as the crowd moved forward for a closer look at the Queen and a very special flypast. Although her great-grandson Prince Louis threatened to steal the show.
They're going to cut the party is open!
It was an extended holiday weekend for Britain. But the Queen's health meant much of the celebrating was done without her. She wasn't well enough to be at the Thanksgiving service at St Paul's Cathedral, but her family were in full attendance, including the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, making their only official appearance at the Platinum Jubilee. The following day, it was party at the palace, and that special guest invited for tea.
Thank you for having me. I do hope you're having a lovely Jubilee.
Tea?
Oh, yes, please.
Some of the world's most well-known musicians had Buckingham Palace as their backdrop for the party, which ended with a spectacular drone light show in the dark summer sky. The final day of the Jubilee celebrations and the pageant took centre stage. Quirky, eccentric reminders of the decades of the Queen's reign. The royal family seemed to love it. Prince Louis again got himself noticed. But the most poignant moment, the Queen's last appearance on the balcony. We now know this was more than just thank you. It was the last time we'd see her in this familiar location, where so many key moments, so many national memories had been made. For the King, there was now the adjustment to life as sovereign. His early engagements took him around the UK, meeting a range of communities. In a rainy York, he unveiled a statue to his mother that had been commissioned for her Jubilee. There was also a walkabout in the city, now a regular feature of his engagements. But here, 4 eggs were thrown at the King as he met people in York. He barely flinched. None of them actually hit. It was, though, a reminder of the risk that comes with this kind of event. On safer territory in the grandeur of Buckingham Palace, the King hosted his first state visit as monarch, welcoming the South African president. The Queen Consort is also carving out her new role in public life. A reception for those working to support victims of domestic violence reinforced this issue as a priority for her. But during the event, an exchange between a former lady-in-waiting and a guest at the reception made headlines. Charity Chief Executive Ngozi Fulani said Lady Susan Hussey repeatedly asked her where she was really from, causing upset and offence. Buckingham Palace described Lady Susan's questioning as unacceptable. A spokesperson for the Prince of Wales said racism had no place in our society. But almost 3 weeks after the exchange, the two women met at Buckingham Palace, where Ngozi Fulani accepted Lady Susan's apology. Lady Susan also said she would deepen her awareness of the issues raised. The racism story came as the Prince and Princess of Wales arrived in America for their first international trip since the death of the Queen. The visit included a meeting with President Biden for Prince William at the JFK Library. The couple also managed a night out at the basketball, where they enjoyed the full spectator experience. And were on the green carpet for the Earthshot Awards prize ceremony, the project launched by Prince William to reward environmental innovation. But it was a visit where they found themselves dealing with some unexpected issues.
The trip here to America was tricky at times. The Prince and Princess of Wales took the view that they wouldn't be distracted by other things. The problem was that wasn't always easy.
While William and Catherine were in Boston, Netflix released a trailer for their Harry and Meghan documentary series.
Doesn't it make more sense to hear our story from us?
It changed the conversation around the trip, attention drawn once again to the divisions within the royal family. During the 6 episodes, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex shared insights into how they met and their family life, with previously unseen footage.
Archie took his very first steps right here.
But they were also critical of the royal household, of the support they'd received, of the way they'd been treated. They spoke of media manipulation and intrusion. As Harry and Meghan tried to negotiate their departure from the UK and royal duty, Harry met with his immediate family at Sandringham. He said it didn't go well, describing a fractured family relationship.
It was terrifying to have my brother scream and shout at me, and my father say things that just simply weren't true, and my grandmother, quietly sit there and sort of take it all in. But you have to understand that from the family's perspective, especially from hers, there are ways of doing things, and her ultimate sort of mission, goal / responsibility is the institution.
It was very much their side of the story. From the royal family, there was no official response to the series. Getting the tone right on international royal tours has proved a difficult area, particularly in countries considering removing the British monarch as their head of state. In Jamaica in March, these pictures of the Prince and Princess of Wales were seen as clumsy and outdated, as was an engagement designed as a tribute to a previous visit the Queen had made here. Much of the tour was more positive. The welcome was warm. But as the visit ended, Prince William issued a statement acknowledging that the trip had caused him to reflect and learn. In a year where the royal family has grappled with grief and fallout, the pictures of Prince George, Prince Louis and Princess Charlotte starting a new school together with Mum and Dad as support were a real moment of happiness.
Welcome George, welcome to Louis. Hello Louis, welcome. And welcome Charlotte, lovely to have you with us.
The family has now moved to Windsor from Kensington Palace, living in Adelaide Cottage within the castle grounds. There have been indications too in recent months of the kind of work Prince William wants to concentrate on. Out and about in London selling the big issue, homelessness will feature strongly. But 2022 will be forever marked by the death of Queen Elizabeth II. The year that the reign of Britain's longest-serving monarch came to an end. The year that a royal family shared its private grief amidst a very public mourning.